Since the retirement of the HMS Dreadnought submarine in 1963, the British Royal Navy has maintained a large force of nuclear attack submarines. Indeed, HMS Conqueror is the only nuclear attack submarine (SSN) to ever sink an enemy warship in war. But the British Navy has experienced a transformation crisis over the past decade, shrinking in size and composition. The latest nuclear-powered submarine, the Astute class, has become an important component of the future of the British Navy. The British Navy operates 19 nuclear attack submarines. Like the United States, the fall of the Soviet Union changed the requirements for the British Navy's submarine fleet, which was originally expected to build a submarine fleet equivalent to Trafalgar Mark II. Submarines focused on anti-submarine warfare, which were expected to defeat Soviet submarines at North Atlantic and Arctic, national interest reports. But the collapse of the Soviet Union dramatically reduced Russia's threat and created new conditions. The British Navy took a design pause, and eventually produced a larger submarine, better suited for multi-purpose operations, including ground attacks. HMS Astute was placed in 2001, 10 years after the completion of the last Trafalgar submarine and 3 years after the launch of HMS Vengeance, the last of the Vanguard class. Unfortunately, the gap has led to the disappearance of key designs and production capabilities, resulting in delays and cost overruns that continue to disrupt the program to this day. Basic drafting and engineering skills have deteriorated when submarine construction technicians and engineers have retired or moved, forcing British Aerospace, who has taken over the program, to rebuild many of its key capabilities. Another problem arises in the sophisticated design software used to design the Astute class. This takes time, encourages submarine reconstruction from the first, and adds to overall production costs. Additional problems arise after Astute HMS starts operating. The submarine is considered narrow, and the crew has experienced some atmospheric problems, heat temperature, inside the submarine. Problems with the design of the reactor, borrowed from the Vanguard nuclear submarine, which experienced a mismatch of some components and an inability to achieve design speed. And the problem only intensified when the HMS Astute ran aground on a sea trial a month after shipping. Despite its difficulties, HMS Astute began operating in August 2010. About 9 years after being deployed, followed by HMS Ambush in 2013 and HMS Artful in 2016. HMS Audacious must start operating later this year, with Anson, Agamemnon and Ajax to be built every 2 years. However, the Astute class seems to represent a step back in the amount of strength. From 1993 to 2004, the British Navy operated 5 Swiftsure-class submarines and 7 Trafalgar classes. Swiftsures began leaving service in 2004, leaving Trafalgars and Astutes, which came into use in 2010. But the UK decided to suspend Trafalgar's operations due to excessive hull age starting in 2009. 3 submarines remain operational, but by 2022 Astutes will become one only nuclear attack submarine serving in the British Navy. As a result, the strength of British submarines dropped dramatically from 12 to 7 nuclear submarines, despite Astute's size and capability. Astute is the largest nuclear-powered submarine ever operated by the British Navy, half as large as the Trafalgar class, weighing 7,700 tons. Its size is roughly the same as the U.S. Navy's Virginia-class submarines, although smaller than Seawolf and Russia's largest nuclear submarine. The Astute class can carry 38 missiles or torpedoes, and along with the remaining Trafalgar submarines, the only British submarine that can fire Tomahawk ground attack missiles. Unlike U.S. submarines, the Astute class does not have a vertical launch system, VLS, for its cruise missiles. The Astute class was designed with a speed of 30 knots when submerged. And although initially experiencing some problems, the submarine was reported to have reached 30 knots in a more recent trial. Astute carries a package of highly effective sonar equipment, which is generally believed to be as good or better than any submarine, and claimed by the authorities as one of the quietest submarines in the world.